Okay. All right, so with macular degeneration, if you Google like how the vision is, with somebody with macular degeneration, sometimes the popular pictures you'll see is somebody viewing a picture with a black spot in the middle. But when I talk to patients with macular degeneration, that's not the description that I receive. And a more accurate description is when the macular degeneration is affecting the vision, the patient starts noticing more blurry or waviness, like especially if they're looking at a face. Here I have a picture of a child's face on the right, and in the middle picture, somebody having more blurry or distorted vision. Part of that face is now missing. They can't really recognize the expression the child has, that the child is smiling. And then the picture all the way on the left, when there's a blind spot that we talk about, it's not really a black spot in the vision, but it's more of a distortion. And so with the blind spot now, you cannot really recognize that that's a face of a child, or can't really decipher what that picture is. So today we'll talk about, similar to what Amy already talked about, but a little bit differently. We'll talk about contrast, lighting, magnification, modifications at home, as well as technology to help improve your life and just live, normally, despite having macular degeneration. So first topic is contrast. So I have a picture of a newspaper, and like Amy was describing, that lettering is very small, but also it's a black print on a gray background, so it's a pretty low contrast paper, and a lot of people have difficulty reading that. Also with the magazine, pages are glossy, there's different colored text, and so it's not a high contrast material to be reading. And so there are some quick, easy fixes to help you overcome that. A yellow overlay, or like a yellow acetate paper, when you lay that on the newspaper, it really helps darken that print and make it bolder so it's easier to distinguish. And also that yellow color reduces that glare coming off from the white page and can help make reading a little bit more comfortable. A lot of us use smartphones, and sometimes with smartphones, because the screen is small, it's also hard to see the print. And a lot of people mention that when they have the setting where it's white text on a black background, it is much easier to read it than when it is a black text on a white background. So something to consider. Also with meals, like Amy mentioned, it's really good to have more contrast with your plate as well as the food. So I have a picture on the top of green beans, and when it's on a lighter colored plate, it's easier to see where those beans are. On the bottom left, I have bottom right, I have a picture of mashed potatoes, and it's much easier to see on a darker plate. Same with spaghetti. If you got tomato sauce, it's easier to see it on a white plate. If you don't have tomato sauce, then a darker plate is much easier to see it. Same with placemats, like Amy mentioned. A darker placemat with a lighter plate, it's easier to see the edge of the plate, and also with your silverware as well. Also with stairs, like Amy mentioned, I don't know if she had a picture of the steps with the reflective tape, but again, stairs, if they're gray and they have shadows with each step, it's really hard to tell where each step ends and where the next one begins, and that can be scary, and to maneuver independently. But having reflective tape, put on the edge of each step really helps you see where that step is and where it's ending, and so you can be more confident going up and down steps in your own home or in the front of your home. Also outdoors, we get a lot of glare. When we are selecting sunglasses, being mindful of what type of sunglasses we're selecting can help reduce glare but also enhance contrast. The picture on the right is a picture of through a polarized lens, where it really helps reduce glare and you can see more detail of what that picture is. It's a picture of a kayak on the water, and there's some rocks on the side. The picture on the left, my left, you're right, I figured it out, is, whoops, okay, is the picture on the right is a picture of a non-polarized lens, and you can see without the polarization, it's not taking away from that glare. And when you have glare, it just kind of washes out what you're looking at. And so you're having poor contrast, and it's hard to see the details of the picture. Same when you're outdoors, like if you're walking outside to distinguish the curb of the sidewalk and then the road, if you have to step up or step down, having that contrast is useful. Also, types of filter colors. So I have a picture, whoops, on the right where we have a gray filter, and there it's really helping, take away that glare, but it's just graying everything out, so sometimes you can't see the detail. Here I have a picture of water and a blue sky, and it's really hard to distinguish where that horizon is, but also there's a sandbar in the water, which you can't really tell what the gray lens is. On the left side, I have a picture of a plum filter, and there you can tell where the sky ends and the water begins, but also you can appreciate there's a sandbar in the water as well. Next topic is lighting. So like Amy mentioned, having a white light is much easier for reading instead of a soft white light or a yellow light. The picture on the left is I'm mixing myself up again. The picture on the right is a gentleman. He's trying to read a newspaper, but he's using a bright white light, and it's a gooseneck lamp, so you can maneuver that lamp any way you want, direct it closer to the page to have more intensity of brightness, but it's also concentrating that light to the object you're trying to view instead of scattering that light and causing more glare. Whereas the picture on the left, I'm disoriented, is just a lampshade. A lot of us, when we're reading in bed, we're trying to be cozy, so we have a lampshade, but it's more difficult to read. And so we want to keep that in mind, that that lampshade is scattering more light. It's not concentrating on the material that you're trying to read, so consider switching to something that's a little bit more functional. Hand magnifiers now come with LED lights in them, which are very useful, and because of having that light in it, some people don't need as high of a magnification for reading with a hand magnifier than if they had an unlighted hand magnifier. So that's also something to consider when you're choosing a hand magnifier for reading or any kind of purpose. Also, as Amy mentioned, like in the kitchen, having those undermount rope lights, battery operated or the plug-in ones, really help you see the details if you're prepping meals or, washing dishes, counting pills, things like that. It's really useful. You can read recipes a little bit easier and things like that. This is a picture of how lighting in a room can be affected just by changing the bulb in the ceiling. So we have on the top pictures, it's more of a halogen bulb or a warm white light. And you can see everything in the room, but because it casts more shadow, you might bump into furniture or not be able to see all the details. And on top of that, if your eye disease is causing more reduction in contrast, that can become more difficult. Now the bottom pictures are more cool white lights or neutral white lights. And as you can see, it makes those furnitures pop out more. You can see even the colors, like the wall colors, not everything doesn't look the same, uniform. So it's just easier on the eyes as well. If you walk outside a lot and you're very active, consider putting down rope lights or path lights so that in the evening it's easier to see the edge of your walkway and also guide you from the street to the front of your door. Same with, lighting outside, like in front of the garage. Having a halogen light, you might get some shadows and lighting. It's not uniform, whereas if you switch to an LED bulb, it's more uniform lighting, and so any kind of shadowing effect is eliminated, and it's less confusing too. Next topic is magnification. So there's all different types of magnifiers, and then as Amy mentioned, the higher the magnification, the smaller the lens becomes. It's to reduce the distortion on the periphery of the lens, so that when you're using that magnifier to read, you get a clear, uninterrupted view from edge to edge of that lens. So I have a picture of stand magnifiers on the top and the bottom, and the middle picture is a hand magnifier, which is very versatile. Other than reading, you can use it to look at a thermostat, the keypad on a microwave, and things like that. And you can just keep it in your purse. It's very versatile. Also, other than the traditional hand magnifiers, now there are portable video magnifiers. Almost looks like a tablet. You can take it with you wherever you go. It's more functional because you can change the contrast to like reverse text, where it's like white text on a black background. They come in different sizes. Some are as small as a cell phone. Some are as large as a large tablet, or 12-inch, like a 12-inch computer monitor too. You can hook it up to the television and use the television screen if you need more magnification. So it's a lot of new technology out there, which is very useful. Desktop video magnifiers have also come a long way. Now it's not like those closed-circuit televisions. They come in color, different contrasts. Some of them talk to you, like some of them, the camera actually, it has an OCR reader, where if you are having trouble reading what's on the screen, you can just press on the screen or click a button, and actually the camera will actually read to you what is in front of the lens. Also, some of them you can maneuver the camera to face it towards you for grooming or applying makeup. So you can do a lot of things with video magnifiers nowadays. Home modifications. So a lot of people have problems with like the keypads on appliances, because to make them aesthetically pleasing, the keypads are more like gray on black or black on white, but they're also very small. They want them to make them very inconspicuous. But that's very hard if you're having a visual impairment. So some changes you can adapt is using like puff paint, like a bright color puff paint from the craft store, and labeling the knobs that you use the most on the keypad, or where the start and stop button is, and to distinguish both of them, you can code them. Or the other thing you can use are bump dots, which are basically ray stickers, and you can put them on, like, you know, the high setting or the on-off settings on the microwave or the dishwasher and things like that. Here I have a picture of somebody using a large print roster, and there's also a picture of a large print checkbook. So if you're having difficulty managing your finances because you can't see where to write on the check, you can ask your bank to see if they provide large checkbooks and large print rosters as well, so you can still independently manage your finances more confidently. A lot of people comment that they can't write in a straight line anymore. They write up or down. And so there are guides to help you write checks. I have a picture here where there's an envelope guide next to the hand, and it's basically a piece of plastic, like a stencil, and you're just writing in the middle of the stencil, so you're writing more nice and neat in a straight line. You know where the dresser or the dressy goes. There are also ones cut out for the checkbook standard format, so that you know where to write on the check as well. Technology. So technology really has come a long way in low vision, and it's just kind of booming right now. Now the most popular technology out there is wearable technology. It is more on the pricier side, but it really helps people maintain their independence. Here we have a picture of a gentleman reading the newspaper with the Geordie. On the bottom, we have a lady using the New Eyes and reading a storybook with her granddaughter. And we also have a gentleman working on his computer with the e-sight glasses. OrCam is also a very good one. It doesn't use visual, but it's more audio. It's very conspicuous. It's just mounted on the temple of the glasses. And if you're having difficulty reading something, you just point at it, and the camera takes a picture, and then it reads into your ear what the menu says or what the book is, you know, or you can read the book to you as well. The newer OrCam, the OrCam 2.0 has facial recognition, so you can program it with faces of families so that if somebody's walking towards you or coming in, it will tell you right away who that person is approaching. There's money recognition as well. There's also where if you are having trouble when you're crossing the road to see if the sign has turned to walk or don't walk, you can just point to the sign and it'll tell you if it's safe to walk or not walk. So it's very convenient. Almost everybody now has a smartphone, and because the screen size is so small, it can become very hard to see that text. But there are a lot of apps, especially free apps, to help, you know, change that home screen on your phone so you can see your individual apps much clearer, your contact list, check your emails, money recognition. Also use the keypad in high contrast, so if you're texting or typing, you can see those letters much easier as well. Some other softwares that are out there, the newest one is Era, where it's a subscription service and the subscriber wears a pair of glasses with a camera on the bridge of the nose, and if the subscriber is having difficulty reading or viewing something, they use their cell phone to call up a technical support person, and that person will be able to view what that user is viewing and be able to describe it to that person what it is or what they're reading. I think it's a yearly or monthly subscription, so depending on, you know, what a person might want, they can, you know, sign up for it, and I think they send the glasses over to you. A free service, which is similar to Era, is Be My Eyes. It's a volunteer service. It's basically an app on a cell phone. And again, if you're having difficulty viewing something or reading something, you just kind of video chat on that phone, and the phone camera, you just direct that camera lens towards what you're having difficulty with, and the volunteer will tell you what it says or give you directions or whatever you need help with. So it's a really convenient one, and it's a free service as well. And that is all I had. Thank you very much.